Hello again. So, my name is Anya, and everyone that knows me knows I'm talking about the runes right now. And yeah, we are getting very close to the end of the Fudak. And today I will talk about the rune Ingwaz. And it's a 20-second rune of the Fudak. So after today, there are 2 more to go. And this rune, of course, is in the 3rd Aetir. And its deities are Freyr and Freya. Its tree is the apple tree, and I will use same tree as the herb because it has a lot of healing properties. And yeah, and it's and this rune has male and female energy in both aspects. And what this rune means is heavenly light, or the heavens light. So, and it's also a rune of fertility and also fire. So, and it stands for growth, for harvest, for peace and prosperity. And these are all aspects of the god Freyr that I talked about before. So it could be that something durable is on the way to you, and maybe something completely new in every aspect, or even in a new unborn life, right? So if you're looking to get pregnant, this is the rune for you, or one of the runes. So and Ingwaz also tells you that your path will be spiritual, so therefore sometimes lonely, and everyone that goes a path knows it's not lonely in terms that you have people around you. It's how can I explain? In matters of you draw back a bit from people in order to sort yourself, right? So, and it's the fire of inspiration within you that will warm you, so you don't feel that loneliness. And it's important to nourish this fire. So it takes time to look for answers, right? Enough questions were asked until now. So you are invited to live now. More does not count. Nothing else counts. Your life takes a turn, and out of it, so something good will arise. With everything, if you work through the Fudak, if you did so, this is, now you will live. We planted the seed, we fought, we released, and we started the new path. So this is where you start actually living now. So, the meaning of the rune Ingwaz means Ing, the earth god, who is also regarded as the fertility and sun god Freyr. So the shape of the sun, of the rune, can be interpreted as a field. So also some see the male genitals, and others see the sky fire, the rune to Imbolc. But their true significance is probably the balance. It's imbalance. It shows a harmonious relationship between humans and the 4 elements of nature. This is what we all worked for. So Ingwaz recalls the ancient connections of the gods with the land and reunites man with his spiritual nature through the real nature. Yes, so if you remember what we all talked about in the past, so this is where you're at now. This is what you worked for all this balance to come, to live. It is a grounding rune that brings man and his body, mind, and perception back to earth. So with man, I mean not man, I mean human, So some consider it also the male counterpart of Bekarna. I said before that Bekarna has a very strong female energy. So because while Bekarna holds a female mystery in itself, Ingwaz stands for the male. So Ingwaz stands for the energy of the seed. Yeah? So the rune is withdrawn and isolated. It involves a major process which takes place in secret. So Ingwaz represents withdrawal, transformation in secret, and the subsequent return. So this can be exemplified by the ripening of a plant, the birth of a child, or the life of a butterfly. You know, the transformation. Life withdraws and secretly undergoes a transformation to new power. So the upper part of the image of the rune stands for the area of visible reality. So this is like our everyday life, right? And then the lower part for the hidden realm of the transformation, which is standing more for the earth. So at the beginning of the cycle, the retreat in the hidden area. Okay, do I make sense so far? So in this secret, intimate environment, the transformation takes place. The forces are regathered and the regeneration takes place now. So for example, like I like to take the seed. A seed hibernates in underground and it gathers strength for when the spring comes to break out, or when the sun hits it to break out, right? To grow. And at the end, the return is with new power or in a new form. So this is all about the transformation you went through. So if you are using the rune for this, or if you went through the Fudak to work on yourself. So, but I'm getting into that a bit. So, in the mythology, it is believed that Ing, the name of an ancient German god of the earth, who worked with Nertus, Earth Mother. Remember, I mentioned her briefly last time with Lagus. Their cult was strong in ancient times, so and especially in the North Sea areas in Europe. So just to get into it a bit again, in an Old English runic poem, it is reported that Ing was first seen by a human eye among the Eastern Danes, until he crossed the sea to the east and his wagon followed him. So that's what the herding called the hero. So, and I mentioned Nertus, like I said the other day with Lagus, and but I also mentioned that it goes back to Freyr or Freya for me. So, and the wagon mentioned here is identical to the one used in Nerthus, in the Nerthus cult. So Ingwaz represents the husband of the Mother Earth and the priest standing by her side. So it's all about the symbolic, right? So the cult played such an important role among the people of the North Sea that they were often referred to as they were just referred to the Nertus cult. So the vanished god Freyr, the god of agriculture and fertility, is also known as Ingvi. Ing is also the Danish, and the Anglo-Saxon name is Freyr. So it seems that Freyr in general has taken on the role and the name of the Ing in the north. And he also played a role in the fertility rituals by driving in ritual processions in a carriage, in a wagon. And I explained that all before. So agriculture is one of humanity's first attempt to control its environment. That's how what we started in the first Aetir. So, and the fertility of animals and plants is a central them in every pagan, heathen religion, however you want to call it. And I don't like to use the word religion or like to call it pagan religion, because for me it's a lifestyle. It's not a religion. I just don't like the word religion, and I think I made my point about the religion thing. So for me it was a pagan lifestyle and not a religion, and it still gets called pagan religion, heathen religion. So, but you can call it whatever you want to, but for me it's a lifestyle and not a religion. So, and even from the earliest Sumerian to modern folk beliefs, people have tried to improve the success of the harvest because it was important, because they needed to live. So most of Western civilization has lost touch with the land and its creatures. Yeah, so I cannot say that often enough. It's so important to get back. So and for me this has all to do with our freaking Gregorian calendar that totally distracts us to get out of tune, because it has to do with looking at the time constantly. I mean, I do understand we need some, time control to do our job for the system and so that we can live, but it disconnects us from nature. So we need to tune into that again. So, and back then they did it. They didn't need a calendar, they didn't need a watch. They watched the sun, they watched the moon, they watched the animals, they watched the wind. You know what I mean? They were in tune. So, and the spiritual consequence of this separation from the earth is just frightening, because most people have no relation to the natural life on earth at all. Like, it's scary. Like, some people wouldn't even know how to plant parsley. Oh, I get parsley in a supermarket. Or you put parsley on a salad because the cooking book says so. You know what I mean? So, and the Nurtus cult, like, is it the the Freya cult, or the Nurtus cult? It doesn't matter. It's the same symbol. So the feminine element consumes the masculine to replace the wasted energies needed to give fertility to the land and to the people. So characteristic in this context is the legend in which Freyr sacrificed his sword to win Skadi, or the name or the horse gelding, which was castrated horse. So okay, but that goes into the Edda as well. I'm thinking if I maybe as next should go through the Edda bit by bit, some parts of it, which is really difficult because it's like a family tree. It's like the creation of Earth, and from the north view. But again, it's really something that needs to be studied. So, and you cannot read it like a novel, right? So, but anyway, so let's get back to the rune. So the masculine element represents ever-renewing cosmic food in the form of potential energy that is kept by the goddess throughout the winter and then released in spring with tremendous force in an orgiastic, organic processional ritual. So, right, in the winter, everything rests, and in spring, everything blooms again. In winter, everything dies, and in spring, everything gets reborn. I hope that makes sense. So, and the Ingwaz rune is a supply of potential energy that must go through a process of growth and maturation to gain the strength. And the principle is valid for all levels of the multiverse, all of them. And this rune inherits great power for every power, because for every power must undergo such protected period of growth and maturation before it can appear in its most potent form. So everything that needs to grow starts in the dark. Yeah, and this is what I always say. We need the dark and we need the light. We need it both. So without the dark, nothing can grow, like nothing can rest, nothing can sleep. The seed cannot hibernate. Right? The seed needs to hibernate in the dark, but then it needs the light to grow. So it will grow to the light. So it is connected. One can grow without another. You cannot just put the seed out in the sun, because it will just dry out. Nothing will happen. So you know what I mean? And that's the same with us humans. So we are going through the same process. And that's what we did. We went through the dark side. We did, most of us. Okay, so we need to embrace our dark, because this is part of us, and this is where we learn. This is where we have the things we didn't like, the things that happened, the things that we did and didn't think it was correct, or we regret, or whatsoever, or where we draw back to relax, to just to withdraw from everyone and everything, to gain new strength. And then once this happens, we go back to the light, and you know what I mean? Do it make sense? Like, if you're constantly out in the light, all you get is flashed by the light, and you turn blind at one point. And you can't renew, you can't gain any strength. It's the same with the seed. If you're constantly out there, there's no way that you can go through this transformation. You do need the dark for transformation. Fact, period. So, and this is for everything. I mean, even the baby that grows in the womb is in the dark. And there's nothing bad about it, because it's growing, right? And then there comes a time where it goes out in the light and gets born. So that's why we need both. The dark and the light, above as below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul. So it's just the laws, and there's nothing scary about it. Of course, if you decide to stay in the dark and you enjoy the dark and you enjoy the dark sides or the things, then, and if you stay in there, fine, stay in there, but you're not going to grow, because without the light you can't grow. You will just stay there. So the seed needs the light to come through the dark to grow. And I think I stopped now with the dark and the light. I think I made my point. Sorry. So let's continue with the magical aspect of the rune. And this is just a short one, and I'm not getting into that in public, because I just won't. Period. So, but what the rune does, the rune embodies one of the greatest secrets of Nordic sexual magic. So that's all I'm giving you, because for me it's one of the strongest energies, and I will just not talk about it in public unless I get asked privately and I see the true intentions behind it. I will explain, but other than that, I will never do that in public, just because everybody knows I'm annoying and very anal with magic stuff. So that's it. Not being a wise ass, just being diligent and careful and respectful and responsible. So what you can use the rune for, if you want to work with a specific rune for a specific matter. So let's start with like Ingwaz. If you look at it, it's a non-reversible or rune. You can turn it as much as you want to write, and that is, I think, the 4th non-reversible rune. So it has a protective effect, and when it comes to action, so there is a pleasant calm. So, you know, if you have too much going on that you need to do, it will just calm you a bit down, so you don't get like an overload. And you can use the rune to get away from the noise of everything. If you have just too much noise, you know, too many people, too much of this, too much action, that, just the noise of the world. Like, let's keep it simple here. And also, it's very effective if you are looking to get pregnant. It also has an effect of sudden release of energy, storage and transformation of certain powers for ritual purposes, and concentration of energy and of thoughts, if you want to balance that out. And of course, this one you can wear as an amulet against, like, I would say, developmental disorders. And this is what I think I mentioned with Anna before as well. And I mentioned it before with Laguz. It's a very sensitive time right now, with everything going on, people realizing more and more what's going on in this world, people awakening. I mentioned that also on Brian's show, when we talked about the thin line between spirituality and insanity. You need to balance out. It's very important right now. If you keep going down the rabbit hole, deeper and deeper and deeper, you will never get out. You can go and dig a bit, but make sure you come back out of the dark hole, back into the light. Same with if you meditate or travel. For me, it journeys, right, to the other realms. If you do that too often, if you're constantly out there in the light, it will blind you so bad that you will not find a way back. I hope it makes sense to explain that. So you need to come back. So, because we are here on Earth, it's a fact, and we need to do Earth stuff. And is it reading a book? Is it digging in the backyard? Is it going on a party? Is it, going to the movies? Something. Earth stuff. Regular stuff. Sometimes, again, getting away from everything. And even getting away from spirituality once in a while, because that's what I mean. You need to do this or you will go cuckoo. Plain and simple. It's a very, very thin line, and And right now I notice that a lot. It's yeah, it's, I see it in the whole world, and I mentioned that before. It's frightening, kind of. So make sure you balance between, you know, don't, like I said, don't stay too long in a rabbit hole, don't go down too deep, or stop digging at one point and go back. Don't be out there too long. Get out of the light, get back to earth here. I hope I make any sense. So, but this rune, when you wear it as an amulet before it drifted off again, it will protect you from that. You know, it will call you back, because like I said, yeah, it will protect you from that. So, and as a talisman one, this is if you are looking to get pregnant, because it's for fertility, but also, let's say, you want success and, you know, a secure little break where you don't work yourself in oblivion. So it's like an organic success, you can call it. So yeah, and also yeah, the healing aspect of the rune, because every rune has supports a certain kind of organic healing, right? Yeah, so this rune, like I said, it's responsible for diseases and disorders, right? And also for diseases of the male genitals. And also, if you believe it or not, this rune is used in cases of autism, and also to cure paralysis. So in like Laguz, it helps for certain paralysis, right? I mean, if you miss both legs, I mean, of course there is no way you will grow legs. I mean, but you know what I mean. But there are ways to cure certain diseases, and I know every doctor that would listen would probably say, yeah, and I have a pill for you too, and a nice comfy jacket. But it's a fact, you can heal a lot with energy work, with shamanic journeys, and sometimes even guided with the Western medicine. It's just like what healers like me do. We are willing to work with Western medicine, but Western medicine is not willing to work with us. So this is actually a shame. You know, I mean, I had cases where I know there was mental disorder, and or where people have such deep traumas that I know they're about to go schizophrenic, and I knew that they would also need guidance due to therapy, and there would be nothing better than having a professional therapist, and that would work with a shaman or healer, right? That would go so nice hand in hand, but they're rare. They're very rare. They're out there, but they're rare, and it's a shame. So, and I'm drifting off again, don't I? So, yeah, like I said, diseases, they have a deeper root. So, same as cancer. It could be that it's either, of course, it's environmental, or it is, which is no problem these days, or it is, yeah, passed on by DNA, which is no problem either, because, you know, they're punching around with our DNA. But That's beside the fact, I'm drifting off again. But I mean, there is a reason for every sickness we get. So, and therefore you can reverse it. Of course, cancer should be caught in a very early stage, right? So, and autistic kids, for example, I see like butterfly in a cocoon. So, and since most of the autism, of course, is caused by vaccines and the environment, I see it like the mind is being locked out, if that explanation makes sense. Yeah, it's, yeah, not locked out, it's locked in, sorry, yeah, me, immigrant, so it's kind of locked in, you know, they're locked in their world. And I know those kids are special and they have beautiful abilities, that are born with it at least, but not the ones that got vaccinated into that state. So, and this rune works for this as well, okay, with a professional healer. And yeah, and of course, what needs to be done before, with everything, not only with autism and others, should be a good detoxing thingy going on for the body. And there are ways too. I can't mention it. I got the tip from a friend. I don't want to mention him because of, I can't name even the supplement here. But if you're listening, you know who you are, and thank you. So, so I will talk about it, but just in private. And now, whoever is listening, it's not a drug. Okay, then, if you draw the rune in an oracle, like if you had a specific question, so that could mean that it's regarding male fertility and physical level expectations, including health or family or offspring issues, but also work, productivity, generosity, balance, connection with earth. Those are some of the things. But again, every rune has their own message for you, right? That's why you need to take your time to get to know the runes. So also the message that it could have for you is like recognize that phases of some kind of rest in life are as necessary as times of action. So you do need the rest. And here we go again. I'm not starting again with darkness and light and balance. I'm sparing you, but here we go again, right? So what you need to do for that is practice self-reflection and patience and listen to yourself, right? Because you got the answers in you, like I mentioned last time in Lagos. So, and how much patience does one have with oneself? Do you have enough patience, or you don't have any patience at all? So you need to develop things and can't force. You cannot just force. So everything takes time to mature, and like again, often in secret, and with secret I mean it's growing in the dark, in the retreat, right? And it will mature until it's gained enough strength to break out really powerfully than if you let it rest. And that again goes with the leak of Laguz last time, if you remember. So yep, again, each project begins with a seed, so be patient. Yeah, I hope I didn't chew you an ear off with my dark and light. So let's move on to the Fulgia. So like I said, in this case it's the bear, but I didn't feel it in this one. I just didn't. For me the butterfly came because it's all about transformation, totally. So that's why I like the butterfly for this one. So, I mean, most of you know the butterfly is a symbol of transformation, right? But it's also a symbol of light-heartedness and discovering the beauty of life and leaving behind the old and the stressful, and it's realizing dreams and visions. That it's so beautiful. So if you see the transformation process from a caterpillar to a butterfly, you know, if you see that, it of course stands for your own development, right? So it's asking you, well, are you still at the beginning, and are we about to make a breakthrough or not? So, and the breakthrough itself can only be done by yourself. There's no one else but you. So it's again also to take on some responsibility with the patients. So, and as with a birth, where the child has to fight his way out of the birth canal, right? The butterfly has to bird out of the cocoon alone and without help. There's no butterfly mommy and daddy, you know. Pretty simple. Same with the egg. So, and only when he's grown in the dark in his cocoon with all the patience, and he breaks out with his own strength, then it's possible for him to fly, you know, because he has mastered the first hurdle into his own life and has taken on the challenge. So this has a secondary meaning behind it, right? So it's crucial, and so that means no longer to stumble through your life, but break free and hold your head up high. So, and therefore, as I mentioned with Laguz, again, give it time. Don't force the result. You know, just imagine for a second. We're not going to do that. We're not going to try that out. I'm just saying, do not touch the cocoon. This is just an example. Imagine you pick the cocoon off the tree, off the bush, and you pull out the butterfly. What do you think will happen? It dies. It's not ready. Right? So, that's the same if we get the baby too early out of the womb. It will not make it. If we break the egg before a certain amount of weeks pass by and we know there's a little chicken in there, if you pull out the carrot that you planted and you pull it out after 2 weeks, it's not ready. So that means you will have to start all over again. So does that make sense? I hope. So the butterfly encourages you to pay close attention to what feeds you and what you absorb. So this means, on the one hand, your food and your water, but right, we gotta watch what we eat, and especially with the water, with all the shit that we have in there from the tap. Yeah, you need to be careful what you absorb. But not only that, it's also the energetic food that we absorb. So if you read destructive books and scary news telecasts, and if you have interpersonal relationships that do you no good, you are gradually poisoning your energetic field, and you're promoting fear and doubt in you. All of this, you know, this is also part, what I mean, of going down the rabbit hole, just feeding yourself with negative news and this and that. And so the butterfly asks you to surround yourself in all things of your life and consume only with what strengthens you, inspires you, and gives you confidence and helps you grow. So, and it's also the healing effect of the colors, you know, that you see in some butterflies. It affects you. It floats in your life with the butterflies, all those colors. So, and colors are vibration, right? So sounds are vibration, bodies are vibration, light is vibration. The butterfly is the master of vibration. So you are called to deal with the power and magic of colors, right? With plain vibration. So surround yourself with positive vibration. And also the butterfly tells you that nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. So, and what is limiting you, you know, take a look at it. What is the limitation in your life currently? You know, take a look at it. If you think you're stuck, take a look at it. With what you are feeding yourself. And, you know, imagine yourself in a cocoon and you're not growing, and if you have no honey in your little cocoon, or just dirt, instead of honey, dirt, I mean, you're not growing, right? So, yeah, watch what is feeding you, or what you feeding yourself with. It's not, you're responsible for yourself. So, and what do you think is not to do, or what is unrealistic? So, do you think something is unrealistic or you can't do it? So, and remember that these are all just thoughts. So, they're not true at heart. They're thoughts. You think with your heart, with your gut. And only you believe in the truth. If you believe in their truth, that will make them your reality. And this is also this whole, TV programming, for example, right? Just an example. It will feed your reality. If you therefore surround yourself with people that are in tune with you, if you read a beautiful book, if you spend time with loved ones, you know, that will make your truth into your reality. You know where I'm going? So, and I mean, look at the butterfly, or I mean, look at the caterpillar, the cocoon. Look at it. If you look at it, it's an ugly little bundle, and would you believe, you know, that it can transform itself into such wonderful little creature with beautiful colors, and that all enchants us? I mean, I'm always get enchanted when I see butterflies, and then on top he can also fly. You know, when you see that little cocoon, or the caterpillar itself, I mean, you would not, I mean, if you would know what it is, I mean, of course, you would never think that it can fly and it's colorful and brings itself out there, that it's nourishing itself actually in there. So, and that's what I mean. It shows you nothing is impossible. And what I looked up just for an example, so the monarch butterfly, managed to cover more than 3,600 kilometers in several generations as a draft animal. Amazing, huh? For a little sucker. So nothing is impossible. Believe in you, you know? So take a break, let your doubts rest and go one step at a time with patience, you know, and the power of the butterfly will accompany you, you know. Just imagine that little cute butterfly next to you. So then next and last, we have the apple tree. So, and I chose the apple tree because it's like the butterfly. And I find it's about transformation as well, because the apple tree is one of the rosehip plants, right? So, and therefore its flowers and fruits are such a beauty. So, and plus no other tree has more legends than the apple tree. It's really legends, myth, and all that. So, but of course for most of it's just a fruit tree. So, but it's actually so much more. It's so beautiful. So, in Latin it's called malus, and malus is the evil. So, but while in our Christian culture we associate the apple and the apple tree with the fall and the expulsion from paradise, the apple tree played an almost like it's an opposite role for the Celts. So the red and round apple was standing in for the setting of the sun, and it stood in some way for the other world. So the way down into the realm of the gods, that's what I mean. So, and the elves and the ancestors that we cherish so much. So, and for example, Avalon. So that was the apple country, and Avalon, that was paradise. And even up today, there is still I forgot the English word for it. They still produce cider there, so they have still apple farms out there. I just saw it last year, so they're still working with apples in Glastonbury. And even among the Celts, the apple was considered, or the apple tree was considered a tree of immortality, right? In regards to Avalon. So, and they also combined the apple with rebirth, and they often gave the death an apple into the grave. So, hoping for rebirth, I guess, or at least, you know. So, and in Christian mythology, the apple tree becomes the tree of life, of knowledge, and paradise, right? So, therefore the apple is strongly associated with a symbol of femininity, knowledge and decision, fertility and long life, with all of this combined. So, and the apple is strongly associated with all of these symbols, also Venus symbol. So if you cut an apple across, you see the pentagram actually in there. So, and if you connect the points and the firmament in which the Sun and Venus are in conjunction, for example, when changing from the morning to the evening star and vice versa. So, and if you do that on the apple, a pentagram is created. So the Venus is light, you know, that is the consciousness bearer. So now listen, that is the consciousness bearer, known as morning star. So, and that's why Eve, Adam, hands the apple from the tree of knowledge. And guess who made who opened a big, you know what about it, you know? So it turned into a sin. Knowledge, God forbid. So, so therefore it's actually a good thing that they call that malum, which means both evil and apple. So if you ate an apple immediately before death, the last rites that they did could not be granted, and you were forever damned. I'm talking Christianity back. So once again, fear was made and suppressed, you know. By that, so that we don't expand our consciousness. Getting the hint here also with Morningstar. Yeah. So, okay. So, the apple tree, but also has a message for you. You know, the spirit of the tree. And it's all about self-love. So, what the spirit of the apple tree can do for you, he can help you to accept your body and your appearance, which I find is also very important during puberty. You know, if, like, especially our kids think they don't meet the idol of beauty, which is all, again, projected to us by faked models. I don't want to get too much into this right now, but just a bit, where men are not men and women are not women, if you know what I mean. So, but that's one point. But also it's a sexual self-acceptance. So, and like I said, the apple tree transforms like the butterfly. So it starts with blossoms, and in the end it transformed to the fruit, you know, the apple, the knowledge. You know where I'm going here? So the apple tree, so it's also the spirit of sexuality, fertility, transformation, and a long life. So it all goes hand in hand with Ingwaz and the butterfly, right? So, and and besides of that, the apple has very important vitamins. So if you're lucky and you have an apple tree, you know, somewhere in your backyard, perfect. You can store them for the winter for the vitamins. So, and also dry some leaves of that tree because, I will get into that in a bit. So, I mean, they don't say for no reason, right? An apple a day keeps the doctor away, but eat the apple with the peel, as it has the vitamin C below it, and all the other vitamins. Like vitamin is mostly close to the peel. They say it's in the peel, but I just think it's very close under the peel. So if you cut it off, you cut a vitamin C off. But it also has vitamin B and vitamin E. So, I mean, of course, make sure, if I say eat it with a peel, make sure you get it from an organic farmer without freaking pesticides bullshit on it. So, and it's all about the metabolism, that apple. It stimulates and your metabolism, and it's very blood purifying. So, and therefore it's good for gout, rheumatism, also for diarrhea. Yeah, for constipation. Now you will wonder, now what? Constipation or diarrhea? Either way, I will explain that. Yeah, and very good if you have vitamin deficiency. So eat apple. Or if you're nervous or have eczema. So, yeah, and like I said, you can eat the fruit or you can make tea of the leaves. So, and so let's get to the diarrhea constipation part. If you have a constipation, you eat the rare apple on an empty stomach. So, but if you have the diarrhea, though, you need to grind the apple like very smushy, and yeah, so it's amazing, you know, how the apple works in different ways. So, and also if you drink the tea, that is very good to stimulate your metabolism, the leaves of the apple tree. Yeah, so a lot. Yeah, and I love the message of the tree for self-love. So even if this is all you worry about, if you're having issues for self-love and nothing else with what we just talked about, connect to the apple tree. So, and if an apple falls on your head, it's maybe time to wake up, you know? Just kidding. Yeah, so I really hope you enjoyed this one. And I didn't annoy you too much with dark and light and balance. And I will be back next week and then the week after. And then we are done with the food arc. And then I will think about what comes next. So, yeah. So thank you so much for listening. And remember, you are beautiful and you can do it, whatever task you have on your plate right now. Yeah, I would be happy if you like the video, because the more people like it, I mean, if you really like it, of course, I'm not forcing anyone to like something they don't, but if you really like it, it would be nice if you hit the button, because the more like, the more could see. So that would be nice. I would really appreciate that. And yeah, much love to all of you. Remember, you're all magic. And there are all many, many kinds to deal with this world. So don't give up. The turn is coming in this world. I can feel it. So that was totally off, Rune, no, but I couldn't insist. So you have a good day or good morning or good night, wherever you are. And I hope I get to see you next week. Much love and see you all soon. Bye-bye.